service to the Guru with real zest and delight. In evidence of the above, the following from the Bhagavatam is cited, where the Lord addresses Sri Uddhava and says, "Knowest thou the Acharya or Guru as myself? Never thinkest thou of him as any other, as a common mortal. Never must thou show disrespect to him. Never must thou find fault with him in the mistaken belief that he is a common human being. For the Guru is the embodiment of all the gods in himself." Commentary. Sri Vishwanatha Thakur has observed that the passage, "Knowest thou thy Guru as myself," means that Guru is one who is dear to me. In Manashiksha, in Stavavali, it is said that the Guru is to be thought of as Preshta, most dear to Lord Mukunda. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhupaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Sivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. The transcendental science of devotional service has been very nicely explained by Srila Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. This transcendental book gives us a very clear description of the different developments in the heart of somebody who is truly walking along that sacred path. My spiritual master has edited, translated and explained this book for our benefit and published it as the Nectar of Devotion. There's other editions also done by other acharyas. The Nectar of Devotion, the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, is a book which is a guideline into the higher realms. We are hearing a lot about different ideas, how to go very fast to the comprehension or to the inner feelings of the bhakti development, specifically referring here to bhava, what to speak of prema. There is a path described as vaidhi bhakti. There is a path described as the Raganuga bhakti. There are so many different steps and symptoms described along. Sometimes, very clearly, the conversation is describing the condition of the beginners. Then it is quite easy to follow. Then again, sometimes descriptions are given towards the perfect sentiments of the Parshadas, what they experience when the transcendental symptoms of love inundate them and manifest in them, then of course it goes beyond our comprehension, and it is just something there to be known of its existence. Just like my spiritual master, when he introduced the concept of nectar of devotion, he said, I'm not writing this thinking that somebody will understand it. I'm just writing this and presenting this so that people will know that such a thing exists. So, holding his lotus feet upon my head and upon my heart, and praying to him that I may not commit any mistake in this presentation, I want to give some guidelines or helping considerations for those who are very eager to quickly achieve the desired result. There is no happiness and no success in spiritual life without the blessings of the spiritual master and without going on his instructions to actually transform our life from an egoistic life into a transcendently dedicated life to his sweet will. That is a fundamental principle, and Lord Krishna himself makes it clear that if you want to understand the truth, you have to approach a spiritual master. Tatvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadikshanti te jnanam jnananas tattvadarshina. And you have to render service unto him, you have to ask submissively, and you have to offer your obeisances. Submitting, inquiry, service. These are very beautiful things which come into a person when he's actually eager to learn something from a spiritual master. There is a very famous saying which says, familiarity breeds contempt. This is very dangerous. That we think, after we know a person for 2-3 years, I already know everything he says. I know he's also a human being and he has his frailties. And then you start minimizing, judging, and doing other things in your mind with that person. If that happens to you in relationship to your spiritual master, your relationship will be severely jeopardized. Vaidhi bhakti means the path of rules and regulations. It means the path of following all the recommendations which your spiritual master has given to you. In this connection, please note that Hari Bhakti Vilas of Srila Sanatana Goswami is a book which is giving many, many, many rules and regulations which are describing the different moods and the different understandings which should be derived from the several different recommendations and steps along the path. But actually, Hari Bhakti Vilas is so extensive, not to say so complex and complicated, that virtually nobody has received from his spiritual master the order, to my knowledge, to follow everything the Hari Bhakti Vilas says. So, what is the understanding? The relationship to the spiritual master is the one and all, and he gives to us what is to be followed. He's giving us the guidelines. If we are reading these transcendental books, and what to speak of books like going further in the topics of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. There's other, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu, for example. There are so many descriptions of the sentiments and of the different symptoms, the stimulants, which go along on the path of bhav, and which are symptomatic for the different rasas as they develop, whether there's Shanta Ras, Dasya Ras, Shakya Ras, Vatsalya Ras, or Madhurya Ras, respectively. All these descriptions, they are in the rasa literature. Actually, Srila Rupa Goswami, in his description, he has also taken steps of development found in other literature of rasic description, or the description of sentiments, fine sentiments, and he has shown how they are applying in the transcendental science of the spiritual love relationship of the soul with God. Srila Jiva Goswami, in his Sandarbhas, he creates the backing for all the literature written by the predecessors Goswamis to him. So all in all, this is quite a complex science, and we may not ignore in that connection that there's many things which are describing the transcendental feelings arising within Krishna and the gopis towards each other, which are declared literature and information only material to be read by those who actually have some development of bhav in their own heart. As long as this remains to be theoretical, as long as this is just something we are hearing, and we are still in a quite contaminated consciousness, we are warned not to go into this type of literature, because we will get a mundane concept of it. We will arouse material sentiments within us, and it will not bring about bhav or prem. It probably bring about some type of offensive mentality, lusty mentality, or something. Because it is true that the loving pastimes between Krishna and the gopis, they are very beautiful pastimes, and they are very enchanting, and they are very high when you consider the basic understandings given by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. And then you find the description of the loving dealings between Krishna and the gopis. You will find this is a very different approach, a different topic. Even though Lord Krishna makes indications in the Bhagavad Gita which point out direct to that direction, as Srila Bhakti Maharaj has pointed out in several shlokas of the Bhagavad Gita, like even the famous Sarva Dharma Parichacha Mami Kam Saranam Vraja Angtang Sarva Papibhyo Moksha Isyami Masucha, where he points out that in the land of Vraja, he's putting a double meaning to that word. There, the Dharma has to be abandoned. That same Dharma taught by the Supreme Lord, Yada Yada Hi Dharmasya Glanir Bhavati Bharata, that same Dharma he's rejecting now. He's saying, give it up and just surrender unto me. Do not fear, I will protect you. So it is a very amazing shloka. What does it mean? Krishna is so high, he's beyond everything. So if he invites the young girls of Braja to his love dance in Vrindavan, it is the perfection of their life, and it is the perfection of all leelas and rasa. But if anybody else would do that, it would become very degraded, very deplorable. If anybody invites somebody to dance into some kind of similar setting, if he would do that, we would be very upset. As a matter of fact, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he persecuted one of so-called Vishnu incarnations who was inviting others' wives and girls to dance with him at night, to play Rasa Leela. It has happened, it has been heard of. Some of the Sahaja groups, they actually promote similar things like that. So we have to be very on our watch. We have to be very careful. This is not a joke. The transcendental science of love for Krishna can easily be misused by someone who is simply interested in the mundane field, the mundane experience. So we have seen that, and therefore our spiritual masters have made great caution regarding this. Just because in this material world the cheaters will always be cheaters, and therefore they will even cheat and meddle into the most confidential topics. Raganuga a path of spontaneous love, the following in the footsteps of great devotees, the following in the footsteps of the transcendental spontaneous sentiments arising within our heart, that is something very special, and we should not speculate about it. For example, one time my sannyas guru gave a nice description. He said, what is raga bhakti or Raganuga? What is that? And he gave a story that once there was an examination in school, the final exams, and one of the students, he was a very genius student. So he went into the exams and there were 6 questions given. And they had 5 hours time to respond to the 6 questions in writing. So that student, he started with the first answer. And he forgot time. And when the 5 hours were over, he was just finishing the first question. And when the teacher said, okay, everybody gives this paper, time is over, he went, oh my God, I forgot to answer the other 5 questions. So he was very depressed and he went to his home and said, I failed the exam. He did not even go back to school to receive the exams. He was convinced that, well, there was big failure on my side. I spaced out. A few weeks later, he walked by his school and he said, let me go and look at the billboard to see how my classmates fared, how they did in the course. So he went, and there where it was announced how everybody had graduated from his course, he found his name on the first as the best graduate. Then he saw, what is this? I didn't answer the questions. How can I be on the first? So he became very confused. But he went to the teacher. He asked, my dear teacher, I didn't answer all the questions. And I found that I was put as best student of the exams. How is that possible? Now that teacher was a very broad-minded person we have to include here. He wasn't the ordinary teacher. He said, yes, you only answered the first question. But your answer was the answer of a research scholar. So how can I conceive of you not knowing the answers to the other questions? That's why I've given best note to you. Then Srila Maharaj said, this is Raganuga. This is the level of spontaneous devotional service, where some things or one particular thing becomes so important that you neglect to follow other things because you were too much captured in doing that what you were doing. Not because you are lazy, not because you are negligent, not because you wanted to avoid anything. No, because your heart was captured in something so nicely that there is no question of any negativity entering into this. Then the path of vaidhi bhakti starts having less importance. Even though also clearly pointed out that those who are on the level of Raganuga bhakti, who are following in a very intense way their heart as far as going about with what their guru told them, they still give the example of the vaidhi bhakti. They will teach the vaidhi bhakti. They will do all the different things which are part of our devotional process, such as the deity worship, the sadhana bhakti in the temples, and so many other aspects. Even though everything is finally in consciousness, everything are the levels of consciousness. The vaidhi bhakti rules are very important, because first of all, we should always consider ourselves as beginners. That is a very important thing. If anybody thinks, I have love for Krishna, now I'm about to graduate to the next higher bhakti level, then it is not very humble at all, and it is most properly the beginning sign of a deviation. So therefore, to follow the basic spiritual program and to follow the sadhana bhakti, this is something which is perennial. It will always go on. If anybody in his individual spiritual path is going further, is going higher, that will be known to him in his heart, that there has been a craving for something more, that something is blocking his way. I mean, we hear some like for example, I think it was Prabhudananda Saraswati who prayed, my dear morning bath, my dear rules and regulations, my dear mantras and tapas, I am so sorry I could not attend properly to you. I've been totally captured by the service of the Lord, of the boy crawling in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj. So please you forgive me if any negligence has come from my side. Anyway, that's not the precise quote, but that's the spirit of that declaration. So Mahaprabhu Nityananda and all the different instructions given, they're so immense. As a matter of fact, very often you read a book and like the Bhagavad Gita Mahatmya, the so many other shlokas, stotras, and very often it says that if you sing this song every day, you will get this wonderful result. If you sing that song, if you line up all those recommendations given by the great acharyas, you'll be singing and dancing all day and reciting stotras. You'll reach the end of the day, you have not been able to do all that what they recommended. In other words, it's impossible. There is too much nectar. There's too many wonderful books to be read. There's too many wonderful sacrifices to be made. There's too many temples to visit. There's too many parikramas we can do. There's too many Vaishnavas to offer obeisances to. There's too many people who can bless you. And then again, where am I going to be situated in all that? What is my safe position? Sometimes people say, come here because we have more Krishna Lila nectar here. And another person may go, come here because we have the biggest campaign in the world. Another person may say, come here because we do Braj Mandal Parikrama for so many days and we don't miss out one spot and we only go barefoot, and that's the only way that you can really get the bhakti nectar from it. And so and so. So many campaigns and soliciting or invitations are there in this world. Just like so many books to be read. But our only safe position is at the lotus feet of our spiritual master, doing exactly what he says. That's why I read from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu this verse, that we should always remember the spiritual master is being chosen by Krishna. He is sent to us to guide us in the inner spirit of this understanding of bhakti, which means to take your spiritual master's order as your heart and soul, to make that your heart and soul. That is a very high level of bhakti. That is not vaidhi bhakti actually. One time a person was talking about vaidhi bhakti. And he said, yes, and it's so difficult to follow all the rules and regulations. Then I heard a commentary given in this connection. He said, actually, all our initiations in this line, after Srila Prabhupada or Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, they are all in the spirit of Raganuga. Why? Because by the rules and regulations we are all disqualified to begin with, even with vaidhi bhakti. We are simply disqualified. But the mercy of Krishna is so great. The spontaneous surrender to Krishna, the prayer given to Lord Krishna by his pure devotee Srila Prabhupada, to please bless these young boys and girls from the Western countries or from India, from any lower birth, to come to such a high understanding as to embrace Krishna Bhakti from the depth of your heart. Oh, all this is not within the realm of Vedic rules. It is actually motivated, and the impulse comes from the higher spontaneous levels of devotional service, and from there our mantras are coming, and from there the divine call is coming to go to that divine world of spontaneous loving devotional surrender. And this is only possible to be maintained as a life connection in our life through the service to Sri Guru, through the actual inner understanding of what he wants us to do. When Srila Prabhupada sent me to preach to different places in my life, I was so disqualified to convey all this message. As a matter of fact, in those days we did not have any books either. In the beginning, when I joined the movement, just the first Ishopanishad was coming out from the printer, meaning nobody knew anything. Not like you today. You can go to Vrinda bookstore and find a host of Vaishnava literature, far more than you can read. Or you can go to our website, the first internet library on the web, with 220 different books on the Vaishnava literature. It is just amazing the amount of books available on these Vaishnava topics. As I say, we had nothing really, but we had faith in our spiritual master. And that faith was enough for him to send us out to represent himself in another place, to simply pray to him, think about him, and repeat what he had told us. And what was the magic impact? That those who were able to meet us and take that message serious had the same transformation as we did. They became Gaudiya Vaishnavas until today. Their transformation was not only for a week or a month or so. They were actually becoming Gaudiya Vaishnavas and following in the footsteps of the predecessor Acharyas and coming in contact with so many divine secrets. Like when I first read the Nectar of Devotion, that you should follow an eternal associate of Krishna in Vrindavan, my heart was dancing in joy. I got one, I got one, I got one. I got my Srila Prabhupada. I just follow him. Because how I'm going to follow somebody I don't know, I never met personally. That's a pretty tough one. And anyhow, as you hear about the gopis, the gopas, and you hear their transcendental sentiments from the source of your Guru Deva, some particular emotion will arise within you, and you will have a certain inclination. I know one of my godbrothers, he was adamant about that he only was interested in the Krishna Leela with his cowherd boyfriends. He was very attached to that. Well, Srila Maharaj answered him when he asked him, don't worry, Radharani is in charge of all the rasas. So when you worship and pray to her, but you have a particular other inclination, she can also happily accommodate you. And from there also the statement comes that Vaishnavism means proper adjustment. That is to understand the different situations and to make everybody happy in the family of Krishna consciousness. That is a very high level of bhakti, not neophytes, one jumping on top of each other and each one wants to point out his own superiority. That is not what we have understood to be the activity desirable for us. So, the different levels of devotional service which we can achieve as we go further ahead, they have been clearly enumerated in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and also in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And we know that everything starts with the Gyata Sukriti. Before the Gyata Sukriti, there's the Agyata Sukriti. This is really the foundation. Agyata Sukriti means you do something wonderful for a devotee you may not even know. And that give you great blessing. But Gyata Sukriti means conscientiously you're helping a Vaishnava. You like him, something happened, and you offer some service. From that Gyata Sukriti, the door to bhakti opens. Because you have a positive attitude, you want to go there. But still you need so much help, so the best thing you can get is the Shraddha. Shraddha, faith. So actually Gyata Sukriti and Shraddha, they are going together, because how do you get the idea you want to help a Vaishnava? That is a faith which is born there because of a positive inclination of yours. And if you have that faith, which is the beginning of bhakti, Bhakti Devi herself is Shraddha Devi, she is giving you that initial faith, then you get sadhu sangha, association with devotees. Because the association with devotees is so fundamental. Without the association of devotees, you can never become a devotee. It is in their association that all these things become natural and wonderful and happy, joyful. It's so wonderful. And that sadhu sangha, then it will immediately put you in contact with me. Immediately, maybe not, but Guru Karan. That you will find your spiritual master. You will find the person where you want to submit. Usually the Shiksha Guru later becomes the Diksha Guru, Srila Maharaj explains. The one who is instructing me, the one who is giving strength to me, the one who is taking care of me, the one who loves me, the one who Krishna has sent to look after me. Well, I'll accept him as my Guru. I want that person to guide me. I consider that person to be sent into my life by the sweet will of Krishna. I'm so happy about that connection. And because I feel so strongly about it, then I can accept the spiritual master. You can only accept the spiritual master if you feel strongly about that. If you feel that this is a great gift, that Krishna has been kind with you, to come into your life and to take care of you through that person. So how can you give up his service afterwards? It's inconceivable. After you got help and you get all the strength and all the happiness and all the family, how can you give that up? Even there may be another guru who is a great Sanskrit scholar. There may be another guru who has other things which your guru personally doesn't seem to know or to have. Still, will you give up his service? That's not natural. Besides that, it says, whoever has faith in Guru and Shastra, to him it will be revealed within his heart. To him. So we have to be in one way really practical, have to see what is Krishna's way of interaction. How does he make his appearance in the life of a devotee? Well, through the Guru. And he teaches him, and if you surrender to him, and then you can understand Krishna book. And then you can understand Nectar of Devotion. And then you can understand Chaitanya Charitamrita. Because it will be revealed to you in your heart what it really means. When you become a humble servant of the Vaishnavas. That is really the path of devotional service. So then Bhajana Kriya, after you accept the spiritual master, he's going to come and say, come here. Now you please chant these mantras. And you get up. And this is your service. And this service you try to perfect it. You see, sometimes the Guru may switch your service. Every day give you a different service. That's kind of easy, no? Then every day you're told what to do. But sometimes the Guru gives you one service for the rest of your life. He'll say one thing, and that's what you're going to live on, thrive on. That's your nutrition. Your spiritual surrendered nutrition was what he said in that moment. Therefore, Srila Gurumaharaj says, if we get a letter from our spiritual master, that is so meaningful. There is his message for our life, possibly, put right there. So this is... the substance is very intensive in Krishna consciousness because it is a descending process. So when the mercy descends, that's where it is. It's not an ascending process where my own power, go into the reach of the higher transcendental region, I pick one fruit from there, I pick one fruit from there, I pick one fruit from there, and then I make a little tutti frutti in my brain, and that is my great spiritual realization. It just doesn't happen that way. It descends. The mercy descends on when Krishna wants it to descend, when you're ripe, when you're opening your heart to receiving it. This is how Prem and Bhav and Ruchi and Ashakti and all these transcendental things, they descend. Nishta, spiritual firmity, totally strict and clearly set in your spiritual path. Even that can only happen by mercy. Ruchi, mercy. What to speak about them? Shraddha is mercy. Gyata Sukriti is mercy. Agyata Sukriti is also mercy because it's unconscious, but still it's mercy. So is there any participation of us really there? Of course there is. There is your inner craving. And that inner craving can lead you up if you are following the footsteps of the Chataka bird. Chataka bird is being described by Srila Maharaj as that bird is only looking upwards for mercy. It will not take any water from the ground, from any pool. It will only take the water from the cloud, and it will pray to the cloud, please give me mercy, give me water, even though the cloud may come and give thunder, storm, and lightning, but the Chataka bird will only take from above the nectar. So this is the guiding principle of our Raganuga acharyas. Ragamarga, Ragatmikas, means those who are totally absorbed in the eternal servants of the Guru, those who have understood their eternal relationship with Krishna, those who are fully immersed in their Nitya Lila and Nitya Siddha, in their eternal perfection. We want from them the mercy to come down. We pray for that. We can only pray for it. We cannot insist, we cannot demand. We can only pray for that. Srila Lokanath Goswami, Narottam Das Thakur prays, when you going to take me by your hand and take me to Sri Rupa Goswami, who's Rupa Manjari? Please take me there, by your mercy. If you're not going to take me there, I don't go. So the connection, the divine field, the divine realities, this is all revealed in due course of time. And we know we should follow the basic. We should not think ourselves, oh, I'm a great devotee now, I should only hear advanced topics. No, Srimati Radharani, who's definitely the greatest, she thinks she's not a devotee. She doesn't want to go say, Krishna, I want to dance with you. She says, I want to do the menial service for Krishna. The most simple and lowest service. Not that she say, oh, I am not good for cooking and anything else. No. Srimati Radharani wants to do all the menial service, but Krishna wants to dance with her. Krishna wants to hold her to his chest. That is Krishna's sweet will. And then when she understands Krishna's will, then she wants to satisfy his heart's desire. So, the real path of vaidhi bhakti, it will gradually turn into the Raganuga bhakti as we are progressing. And as we understand within ourselves that there is higher priorities than simply the rules. But these priorities you will not set in a mental frame of mind. You will simply be drawn into them. You will be drawn there. And you will find yourself in a different world of spiritual concerns. And those concerns are unimaginable and they cannot be theoretically thought out. They are simply the concerns of those compassionate spiritual teachers we have had. Like when Prabhupada went to America, some people told him, don't go there, Swamiji, you may die there. Now you're an old man, you stay in Vrindavan, make sure you die in a holy place. So they may have thought that Mathura Vas means to live in Mathura and to die in Mathura. But what did they know of Prabhupada? That wherever Prabhupada goes is Vrindavan. He's Vrindavan consciousness, he's Vrindavan personified. Whoever meets him anywhere in the world, he met him in Vrindavan. Because he is Vrindavan, love for Krishna, love for Radha. So this is the level which cannot be understood theoretically. Prema Bhakti, the sadhya, the goal, that is so wonderful and so elevated that the devotee who's actually approaching that level of devotional service, he will be filled with ecstasies and transcendental symptoms will appear on his body. But usually he will subdue such symptoms and not make them publicly visible. But we have seen cases where it had become impossible for our spiritual master to hide the transcendental sentiments such as tears or such as faltering of voice or anything like that. We have seen with our own eyes such moments take place in the life of our spiritual master. So therefore, we are following those great souls who are totally in the mood of bhav, Krishna Prem. One day I went up to Srila Bhakti Srila Deva Goswami Maharaj, and he was very thoughtful. And one devotee who went up with me said, "Good morning, Guru Maharaj. It's very cloudy today." And Guru Maharaj answered, "Yes, and then you are depressed. But," he said, "in Goloka Vrindavan, everything enhances the bhav. When Mother Yasoda sees it cloudy and she's afraid it'll be raining, Then she thinks, oh my dear little baby, he's going to be walking and he's going to get wet and he's going to be freezing. And she becomes so overwhelmed with sentiments of love for Krishna that she can hardly tolerate it. So he said, in the spiritual world, everything enhances love. In the material world, we get frustrated. Oh, it doesn't look like I'm going to enjoy a lot today. It's going to be raining. Or like that. Immediately we take it from our enjoyment or consumer mentality. But in the spiritual life, in real bhakti, it is not like that. So when it comes to Raganuga bhakti and the principles of Raganuga, the principles of following the advanced devotees and their sentiments, this is actually very confidential. This is something which takes place within ourselves. There are emotions, transcendental emotions, which will drag us forward, and we will feel that there's nothing more wonderful than Krishna and his devotees. And that feeling will increase and increase and increase and increase. So, please do not come to the point in your life to conclude that you have transcended vaidhi bhakti, but follow what your spiritual master is telling you and take his instruction to heart. And there will be not one blessing which you'll lack to get. Because as we go forward in our devotional activities, as I already mentioned to you, we cannot do all of it. We cannot read all of it. We cannot chant all of the mantras. It is impossible. So, if you follow what your spiritual master tells you, and you are trying your 100% support to that, you will be in the line of Haridas Thakur. Srila Haridas Thakur, in his example, is Nam Acharya. He chanted the whole day and night. He'd hardly sleep, he'd hardly eat. He just chant and chant and chant and chant. Our spiritual master has never told us to imitate Haridas Thakur. As a matter of fact, the Nirjan Bhajan, or the secluded bhajan, in our particular school of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, has been discouraged. Rather, they have been substituted with a very strong concern of giving the holy name to others. To be very concerned with the purity in purpose and the kindness and the compassion for all those who do not know about Krishna, which is the greater majority of humanity at large. And to go out of your way to make it possible for them to come into contact with divine sound and to be able to change their life. Spiritual life is not spiritual Olympics. We are not competing with others for showing off that we are more learned, or we are more renounced, or we have walked without shoes more kilometers, or we have studied more books and we have more knowledge of Sanskrit, or like that. That is not a competition. Spiritual master may tell one devotee, you become a Sanskrit scholar. And he may tell another devotee, you become an expert cook. Nayanananda Das Babaji Maharaj, he very often tells us the story that his Guru Deva, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, gave him the order, you do not go out and preach. You stay here and build the temples and look after the construction. I need you for that. Now, does that put him in a lower position than a preacher? This what we have to understand. Whatever the Guru will tell the disciple, that is his access to vaidhi bhakti and later to Raganuga bhakti. Because it's not that I follow the orders of the Guru for a while, then I transcend the orders of the Guru to go further up. No. You will get from the spiritual master so many instructions, and you have to learn how to harmonize them into what we call your practical personal devotional program. And as I say, some devotees spend a lot of time of doing puja in the morning, and others, they spend a lot of time of learning verses, and others, they spend a lot of time organizing rasayatras. The priority and the importance is, what did your Guru tell you should do? That's where you have to focus. Do not think that I have to focus and I have to safeguard myself against the instructions of my Guru by finding out somebody else's commentaries and ideas. Then you're ungrateful. Then you become bogus. You do not have to counsel. Otherwise, the word acharya mam vijaniyam, consider the Guru to be myself, would be of no meaning if the Guru is not going to be the authority in my life, if he's not going. And of course, that is where it comes in. Familiarity breeds contempt. Then you find different persons making different propagandas, no? And they'll ask you, have you never been to Kamyavan? And maybe you were not. And then he say, oh, then you don't know anything about Vrindavan, or something like that. And you get worried, no? But it's not like that. The actual fact is that there's nothing more important than the Guru Seva in our spiritual life. And the Guru Seva is the Radharani Seva. Radha Dasyam comes there. And the spiritual master will teach you to become very attached to your spiritual responsibility. Like I often meet devotees, they want to get the technique, but they don't want to get the responsibility. They say, what else I have to do to become humble? What else do I have to do to get love for Krishna? What else do I have to do? But when I say, you have to take this service to your heart and take big responsibility, they go, oh no, my God, that means I'm going to be wrapped up and I'm going to be losing my freedom and my independence and my this and that. And the answer is, yes! That's what you're supposed to lose when you come into contact with Krishna and your beloved. Or what is that? Or you want to get married but never be at home? Huh? You want to have children but you don't want to feed them. What is the concept? If you are becoming Krishna's eternal servant, then you want to get the Guru to come and to take over your life and to fill every moment of your life with devotional service. That is what you aspire for. Then again, sometimes the Guru will give us so much freedom. For example, if I say, you go to this country and start preaching there. Well, what does that mean? What the Guru means by that, go to this country and start preaching there. Well, then he trusts you so much to be able to figure out what that means. That means he trusts you. You'll get a place, establish an altar, start sadhana bhakti, go out in the street, print an invitation card, start cooking prasadam, giving out prasadam. How did Prabhupada start prasadam distribution? After every class, he took an apple, cut it with a knife in little pieces, put it on a plate and sent it to all the people who were sitting there. They were all taking a piece of apple and putting a donation on that plate. That's how prasadam distribution started in the West. by our beloved Gurudeva. So he did what he could according to time, place and circumstance. Devotional service changes according to time, place and circumstance. But the wish, the sweet will and the order of the spiritual master, the substance of it will not change. If my spiritual master tells me go and preach in Colombia, then all of a sudden they invite me to make a course in the university. So then I may all of a sudden be teaching in university Bhakti Yoga. So this is another version. There's so many versions. One time I went to a television talk show. And in that talk show there was supposed to be a Christian priest arguing with me about different things of Vedic culture. So it was a 2-hour talk show in Brazil. And the priest didn't show up. So the talk show, it was live transmission. The talk show host, he said, you see, the person who was supposed to come into the debate with the Swami, he didn't show up. And he goes, hands me the microphone, he says, the next 2 hours are yours. Huh? And I went like, wow, gee, that's something. 2 hours of live airtime on a television. Now to tell something about Srila Prabhupada. Well, that was Prabhupada's service. He gave me 2 hours speak about Krishna now. Now, this is something. You cannot apply all the rules and regulations to such circumstances. They are coming. Devotional service will come and it will pull on you. Like, who is your guru? Well, it is very clearly stated that for the spiritual master, his guru comes to him in the form of his disciples. His disciples will come and say, what we have to do, what we have to do. How can we serve Krishna now? What I'm going to do here, what I'm going to do in Argentina, what I'm going to do in Mexico, what am I going to do? And the guru is sitting there, oh Prabhupada, I'm going to engage all these people now. What I'm going to tell them? They want to be engaged in your divine service. You told me something, you showed me something, and one is a painter, and one is a politician, and one is a businessman, and one is married, and one is a brahmachari, and all of them have different questions. And all of a sudden you find, oh Krishna, oh Prabhupada, this is responsibility, what you wanted from me. And that is in the line of Raganuga bhakti. You cannot do that just in the level of vaidhi bhakti, because vaidhi bhakti means you're busy all day following rules of the temples. If I follow Hari Bhakti Vilas strictly, I won't have time to talk to anybody. I'll be just reciting mantras. So spiritual life is a living thing. And all these levels, nectar of devotion, all these levels, yes, there are tons of words and sentiments and they are very good, but you have to grow inside. You have to feel it. You have to live it. You have to go the way. Go that way. And along the way you will find, like they have a saying in South America, which says, we arrange the load along the way. Like, you can't arrange the load on your shoulder for the whole way, because it starts hurting on one side. Sometimes you have to move it, shift it, do something. So whatever really comes in a real spiritual path, that will be arranged along the way. But you will be guided by Guru Deva and Krishna in your heart. Like Prabhupada writes, what's happening when the spiritual master leaves this world? Then are we bankrupt? He says, no, if the disciple sincerely cries in despair at the departure of his spiritual master, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Guru in everyone's heart, will take over and guide him further on in his life, so he can go on that difficult path. And he'll find out. So Sri Guru is our life and soul. His order is our life and soul. We can only go His way if we want to go back to Godhead. And we appreciate all the Vaishnavas who follow their respective spiritual masters. And fortunately, Krishna has done it in such a way that they do all kinds of different things, so that Krishna consciousness will spread to every nook and corner in so many different ways, because in this way there will be a far more outreaching presence of the Vaishnavas in this world. And this is we also seeing actually it is taking place. We just have to make sure that we remain humble in our own spiritual life and appreciative of the so many ways Krishna consciousness is being spread, and always carefully guard the sacred memory of our spiritual masters. Therefore, sometimes we do not associate with anybody who has a minimizing consideration of our Guru. We do not think that everybody has to follow our Guru. This is a ridiculous idea. But if somebody minimizes him, or he thinks he's not capable of giving me something in particular, then we will not feel very encouraged in that type of company. And it's actually very offensive to discourage anybody about his spiritual master, because what help do you give? Like Srila Gurumaharaj said, to get faith into a Vaishnava in this age of Kali Yuga is so difficult. Actually so difficult to get faith in a Vaishnava. So if you do anything to destroy the faith of somebody in his spiritual master, that will hit back on you. That will just come back. Srila Guru Maharaj was heavy. He said, just like spitting into a fan. It'll come right back on you. You cannot disturb the faith of somebody in his spiritual master. And last not least, don't forget that Krishna is in control. Krishna is in charge. Krishna is the supreme controller and lover. And Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhaktya pranashyati. Krishna says it personally. Arjuna, you declare it. You declare it that my devotee will never perish. My devotee will never be destroyed. And you know the reason why he said that. Because Krishna himself, in order to protect his devotees, sometimes breaks his own words. But his devotee doesn't. When his devotee says something, Krishna will back it up and he will protect. He will protect what his devotee has said. So what Prabhupada told us, that we will be able to go back home, back to God, by dedicating ourselves to Krishna consciousness and by helping others to become Krishna conscious, that is true. That is real. Krishna will never break the promise of his pure devotee. You can have your full trust in that. Now, the story was that once Krishna, he was aware that there was a very great danger for the Pandavas. Duryodhana went to great general Bhishma and he said, Bhishma, you're not fighting like the general. We are losing this war. So please help me. I think you are favoring the Pandavas. And Bhishma was very upset. He says, Duryodhana, this is not fair. I am fighting very hard, but I have one special boon here. I have 5 arrows, and those arrows are mystical, and they will not fail their destination. And with these 5 arrows, I will kill the 5 Pandavas tomorrow. Oh, Duryodhana was so happy. That's great, we're going to win the war, we're going to win the war. So he said, Bhishma, I'm so happy about that. Please give me the 5 arrows. I'm going to take care of them overnight. Personally, I'm going to guard them. That nothing can happen to them. Krishna is a super soul, so he knows everything. So he told Arjuna, hey Arjuna, there's a great danger coming towards you tomorrow. This Duryodhana has 5 arrows from Bhishma, and Bhishma promised to tomorrow with these 5 mystical arrows he will kill the 5 Pandavas. You remember when you were a young boy, you saved Duryodhana's life, and he told you, I'll give you a boon. Yes, Arjuna said, I remember. Now you go to his tent and you ask for the boon. And then he will ask, yes, I will give you, then you ask for the 5 arrows. So Arjuna followed Krishna's instruction because Krishna is in charge. He went to the tent So in those days, even when there was war, at night time the different parties could meet and discuss different things. A little different style of today. Anyhow, so he went to the tent of Duryodhana. He said, "Who's there?" "Arjuna." "Arjuna, you come to see me? What is it? What can I do for you?" "Oh, Duryodhana, I have to remind you of something. When we were children, you gave a boon to me, and I never reclaimed that boon." "Oh yes, Arjuna, I remember very well. Now, what is it what you want? Do you want me to give you half of the kingdom? Do you want me to stop the war? What is it what you want?" "No, I don't want this. I don't want that." "Okay, Arjuna, what is it what you want? I will do it, certainly." Then Arjuna said, "I want the 5 arrows, Grandfather Bhishma." Duryodhana said, "Oh, how did he know that? This is terrible." But as Kshatriya, Duryodhana gave him the 5 arrows. Arjuna said, "Thank you very much," and went back to Krishna, and Krishna broke the arrows. He broke them. So, in this way, next day there was the battle, and immediately Bhishma came up to Duryodhana. "Duryodhana, my arrows!" And Duryodhana looked to the ground. "My arrows!" No answer. "What happened to my arrows?" "I don't have them anymore." "What? You don't have them anymore? What did you do with them?" "I gave them to Arjuna." Oh, and why you give to Arjuna? "Oh, because he had a boon open with me, and he came last night and he asked me for those arrows. What else could I do? I couldn't go back on my Kshatriya word." "Oh," Bhishma said, "this is Krishna's rascal arrangement. He wants me to break my promise. I promised to kill the Pandavas today. Now he took away my arrows. Now I will keep my promise anyway. I will kill the Pandavas without these mystical arrows." And Bhishma, with anger, went into the battlefield, and he fought, and he got on Arjuna's case, and he destroyed Arjuna's chariot, and Arjuna had no more defense and everything, and Bhishma was just coming to shoot Arjuna the last fatal arrow into the chest. When Krishna saw that, Krishna had promised not to participate in the battle. But when he saw his beloved Arjuna in that danger, Krishna picked up one of the broken chariot wheels and he ran towards Bhishma. "No, you're going to get it from me!" And Bhishma said, "Oh, my lord, that is nice. If you can break your promise, I have no problem breaking mine. So now you can hit me, no problem." At that moment, the conch shell sounded and the battle of the day ended. So, because of that, when Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita, he says, "Kaunteya pratijani hina me bhaktya pranashyati." He says, you don't believe in my words, because I do break my words. But you say that my devotees never perish, because then everybody will believe it, because they know I keep the word of my devotees. So in this way, we can understand that everything is promised by Krishna. It will come true. And The spiritual master is the representative of Krishna, and he's guiding us how to serve Krishna. So we should focus on his instructions, Guru, Shastra and Sadhu. We should read the books very carefully. We should chant the holy name of Krishna from the depths of our heart, counting carefully on our mantras, doing everything carefully, and at the same time not forget that the real spirit of this movement is to give it to others, just like Nityananda and Haridas were sent out to give it to others. So whether in Argentina or in Vindakunja, our job is to give Krishna to others. Do everything possible that any person who comes into your surrounding, that he is actually getting Krishna consciousness as it is. Because in this way you will really be blessed by the gift Srila Prabhupada has come to give to this world. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Gurumaharaj, Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. All the assembled Vaishnavas in Vrindavan Kartik 2000 ki jai, Vishwa Vaishnava Raj Sabha ki jai. Gaura Premanand.